Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to At the End of Time and Time Again. Today, we are going to be discussing movies we have watched repeatedly and still have not lost our love for. Sitting here, as always, is Matt, Mike, and Sebastian. Seb, nice hat, buddy.
Nice hat, Matt.
Did
Twinsies.
you guys go to a concert or something on Monday?
I don't remember.
Well, Matt obviously doesn't. The amount of cans of beer that Matt had underneath his chair was.
Yeah, I'm surprised you remember
just actually
anything of the
shocking.
show. Jesus,
It's shocking,
shocking.
but like in a great way.
Even Cooper, my son's like, Matt's had a lot of beer, Dad. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what he does.
That's what I do, and
That's what
that
I
was
do.
nothing.
I'm
It's,
just sharing the link to this. Give me a second here, okay?
Do it.
So that was a rad show. Mike, did you actually come up with any of the stats that you were discussing in our? For those of you that missed it, there is a mini episode up on Apple and Spotify, so you can check that out live from the car on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And you were going to come up with some stats. Did you get any time to do that, or you been running too much?
No, definitely not too much.
Run to the hills, Mike.
Which is amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can start with that song. How many times do you think they've played? Over 2,300 concerts? They've probably close to 2,500 concerts in their 5,000 years of existence.
Yikes.
So with that number in mind, where do you think, say, Run to the Hills? How many times do you think they've played Run to the Hills? It came out in 82?
I feel like this is going to be surprisingly low.
Okay.
And I know they do. I mean, as we discussed last time, they don't do the same set every tour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 1,300, just a little over half.
Okay.
Because it's an early track.
Okay.
Can I say 1301, or are we not?
We're not doing the. We're not doing the prices.
There's no prizes, buddy. Calm down.
No,
I'm gonna say 1,500.
You guys, you know what? Seb is closer. It was 1,490.
Oh, I was almost there.
You were almost there.
Wow.
But if we were doing the prices right, I'm sorry, son. You were over.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think the song they played the most is?
Ooh.
I
want to say.
Can I play with madness?
No, it's not.
I'm gonna say no.
No, I'm gonna. In all seriousness, I'm gonna.
I know, Matt, you don't know their music as well as Seb and I do, so this is kind of a disadvantage.
I feel like Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Is probably
that's a good
contender.
Call. I feel like it's one of two songs. I feel like it's either Number of the Beast or Aces High.
Okay. You gonna go with both or just one? Because only one can be number one.
Number of the Beast.
Well, you guys, Matt, you nailed it.
I figured.
2,357 times they have played that song.
So basically every concert.
Well, it's funny because I just going back looking through set lists that Seb and I have seen, they haven't played it every time we've seen them. So yeah, it's crazy. And Number of the Beast was number 2 at 1,998.
I'm going to assume for like the first 15 years of the career, they played Iron Maiden at every concert.
Absolutely.
Because they definitely played it on the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth tours of their album for sure. Because it's the song that they're named after, right? So
Did you mean 2,900 or 1,000?
2,357 for Iron Maiden.
And what was the other one?
1998.
1998. All right, interesting.
That's a good year, by the way.
I was
really
just gonna say that.
Wrestling.
Okay, let's do one they haven't played 2,000 times. Let's dig a little deeper here. Seb's favorite song of all time.
Can I play with Matt?
That was so rad. I was so happy
that was the most amazing thing ever. And
dude, your hate for the song is hilarious. And I played it, and I was just like rubbing it in.
It was
hours and hours. And as the ball busting continued throughout the car and
the whole day,
and
the kid, and he was just, and Cooper was relentless with him. He's like, this song
it was amazing. It was awesome. Like
You
fucking
gotta admit
cool.
though, it banged live though. It was so
It's
good.
great.
And then when the entire stadium, there's that one part in the middle where the music cuts out and it's just "Can I Play with Madness?" It's the one lyric. Everyone sings it. The whole stadium sang
It's
it.
great. It's great.
Oh
It's
my
great
god!
live.
Yeah.
We've seen
Yeah.
it 3 times. Can you believe that?
What Can I Play with
Really?
Madness?
Yeah, I know.
They-
I
they
only
played
remember.
them-
I think it was 2008, and then 2012, and then now.
It's
we
a
saw it.
shorty by Iron Maiden standards. Like the
Yeah,
song's
it's-
only about
It's like
4 minutes
73
long, I
minutes
think.
long.
It's short. It's 75 minutes, and yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
what do you think the number is? How many times they have played that? It came out in 1988, so a little more recent is a bit of a loose term.
200.
No, it's more than that. They would have played it on every tour or every place they played for that specific tour. I'm gonna say 612.
Well, I will tell you, it is the 30th song most played. So it's not very high. It's not very high.
Not very
And the
high.
numbers drop substantially after you get past like the top 10. So they have played it a total of 379
Oof.
times,
Wow.
which is low for a single. You
Yeah.
figure, right, that it was a popular song. Seb saw it on Much Music 75
It's the first
years
song
ago,
I saw. Yeah.
right?
I think it was the
Um,
first video they did out of any song too, if I'm not mistaken.
Um,
I will look that up.
No,
as
they
you
made
go.
videos, but they made videos before that. Okay, let's try. Let's dig. Okay, so it's funny because I've been listening to nothing but Iron Maiden all week, and usually after I go to a concert, I don't. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of good. Maybe a day. I'm good. Like we listened to them all the way home again. The whole drive was just nonstop.
Yeah, I've had it stuck in my head. I had to drop some friends off at the Horseshoe Bay Ferry the other day,
Ooh.
and I just threw on the concert set list because
Nice.
if I throw on my regular songs on Spotify, the poor 5-year-old in the back seat's gonna pick up some vocab, and we don't need that right now.
You don't
'cause
need that.
He
No,
picked
I'm
up
sure.
a little bit that came out in school. Apparently, I didn't do it. It was
Okay.
not me. We know who
School's
it
the worst.
was because it was the
Yeah.
exact phrase this person uses, but it was not me.
Jeez.
So I was, yeah, maybe we'll just go with this. And he goes, is this rock and roll? I went, this is Iron Maiden, buddy. And he's like, but it's rock and roll. I'm like, no, it's heavy metal.
Yeah, right.
He's like, got a little confused. I'm like, you know what? Just enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
So it's because I was like, the kids always ask me, what's your favorite Iron Maiden record? And I always say, oh, yeah, no, it's this or that, blah, blah, blah. And I came to a realization that it's Somewhere in Time. And it always has been Somewhere in Time. Because it's been like, I went for a run the other day, put the whole thing on. It's amazing. From beginning to end, it's amazing. And when they play Stranger in a Strange Land, it like, my head
That
kind
was
of,
so good.
my head exploded. I wasn't really expecting that.
See, I had a really good view of it because of where I was sitting, because I knew I was going to the concession stand, so that's why I
Yep.
took the stairs, and I could see all three of you. And yeah, that was a highlight watching you when they played that, because again,
Yeah.
you had mentioned it in the car, and I'm sitting there, I was good.
You
I
were.
didn't say
I
shit.
gotta say, you were good, and you even the looks out of the eyes. You were like dead faced, like you were
Yeah.
giving nothing away, which I really appreciate you giving nothing away.
I appreciate the appreciation. I think the closest I came was I think we were walking around the stadium and Seb was having his balls busted. He was firing back and I just started laughing. I'm like, I know who's right.
So Stranger in a Strange Land, I think we talked about that the other one, but we'll go with the one song that I really wanted to hear, which was The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. I was positive they're going to play it. Like I was 100%. They're
They
busting
did
it out.
not.
And I never looked up how many times they played it before. So and after looking it up, really had my answer was that there was no way in goddamn hell they're playing it. How many times do you think they played it?
4.
Well, hold on. Now you said, what was the other one?
Stranger in a Strange Land.
The other one that was low was like 300 something, and that was
379
low.
was, yeah.
I'm going to say 500.
500
No.
for The Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner. Seb
I-
is so close.
I said
So close.
4.
You said 4. It is 1.
They've only played it one
They
time.
played it once, like in Germany or something, in like 87.
Okay.
And never
See,
Wow.
again.
I thought you were mentioning the one that was okay. Never mind. I misunderstood that stat.
That's okay. Stranger in a
wonder if
Strange
there's
Land is
I wonder
not
if-
even close to what you said either, man.
I wonder if there's like a reason they don't play it. Maybe they just don't like. Maybe it's like the escape for them. Like
could be.
Metallica's Escape. They just don't like the song personally, and they don't play it.
Could
But
be.
it's a great song.
It's a great song. I think
Um,
maybe it's difficult to play because
So-
it is quite fast. It's challenging, and I think with the drums, I think it's very challenging.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did look up the first Iron Maiden video ever,
Mhm.
and it actually was released on the very first day of MTV.
No
It was
way.
the 16th ever video played on that day,
No.
and it was Iron Maiden, the song Iron Maiden, in August 1st, 1981.
Wow.
That was the day MTV opened its doors, so to speak, and Iron Maiden was featured on that day when they
Wow.
played that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it was it was a self-titled clip for Iron Maiden. It was the 16th video played on MTV's opening day. So interesting. I think it was not like a video as you see them today. I think it was just like a concert footage
Yeah,
video that they
Absolutely.
played. But
That's hilarious.
yeah, so
The more you know.
the more you know.
Did you know, Seb? Because we were talking about Afraid to Shoot Strangers,
Yes. No.
and we've
I don't
seen
know.
it. We've seen it.
I don't remember it.
Me either. I have zero memory. It was 2012.
I have to assume they
That's-
played it in 2012. So what tour was that?
I don't know. It was just it was the Made in England redo. And they added Fear the Dark and apparently Afraid to Shoot Strangers. And I'm like, Cooper was like, "You've seen that song?" I'm like, "What?" Like, and then I'm a steel trap for all this shit, and I have no memory of this concert. I think I got my tattoo of my kids' names on my arm.
Do you remember
That-
getting that?
Well, I remember getting it, but I don't remember when. And I'm pretty sure.
Didn't you
the
get
show-
that when you were here?
Yeah, I came down.
We went by the Rock Shop. There was a tattoo place by the Rock Shop.
Oh, that was
and-
my Metallica tattoo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Or was it both?
I
It was
don't know.
both. Yeah, I went to Next for both. Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
whatever. I don't know. It's
That's
funny.
okay.
It's only 11 years ago. I don't remember any of it. Anyways, we should move on to
fine.
movies.
Okay.
Yeah, well, hold on. There is one more. Actually, there's two more things I want to bring up.
Okay.
We did get to hook up with a buddy that none of us had really seen in years. I saw him 4 or 5 years ago, so that was really cool. We got to have dinner with Chris at the Roxy Burger, and he sort of sat down and saw everybody, and just took a minute to digest the fact that Mini Mike was with us.
Yeah.
The Roxy Burger. One thing really stood out to me. That is a hell of a trek to the bathroom.
Oh my God. It is like you gotta go
It is.
to the nether reaches of
Okay,
the
do you
abyss
remember
to get to the
Do you remember the opening to the old Get Smart TV show?
where you
walk
like
down
walks
the
through
alley
the
and through
everything.
television,
Yeah.
the telephone booth, and then downstairs through a vault door, around the corner, down. It's exactly like that. It is like hallway, stairs, turn, stairs, hallway, stairs, turn, stairs, hallway. I swear to God, I was looking for Morlocks down there when I got there. I walk in, finally get to the bathroom, belly up the urinal, look up, and those little ads that are right in front of you, men's adult diapers. I'm like, well, fuck. They'd had those upstairs. I could have saved myself 20 minutes and a knee cramp. And that
It's
was not an accident. That was somebody being funny, and I appreciate it. So shout out to Roxy Burger for that. Unfortunately, you're downtown Vancouver, so the bathroom thing's not going to change. But
How's
the
the
important
food for you
thing
guys?
is,
How's the
we
food
didn't
for you
just
guys?
hang
Good.
out Monday night. We hung out Tuesday morning.
We did.
Mike, how was your first experience at Toy Traders?
Oh, that place was awesome. It was I really had to watch myself of buying tons of shit that I don't need. And so I limited it to two things. I might
Mike,
as
did
well
you get
show-
the Skeletor?
Well, I'll show you. I got no, but next time I go, I'm gonna get Skeletor. I got Mini Skeletor on his horse, which
Nice.
Funko Pops are the only way to go. And this one's actually my personal favorite. I got two. I got an ET, but it's ET dressed in drag, and when he's
Love it.
going through Gertie's closet and wearing all the clothes. But yeah, no, it was amazing. They used to see even all the stuff that was built, like up on the walls and
Yeah.
the ceiling and stuff. It's just, man, the hours of effort that went into making all that happen. It was incredible.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Toy Traders is a store in Langley, in the Lower Mainland of Vancouver, and it is basically a grocery store for toys and collectibles and anything gaming. They have different sections for all sorts of different things: D&D, Marvel, Lego. You have the Pop Rock toys or whatever they're called, the little that
Funko
Mike
Pop.
just showed you. Yeah.
Pops, yeah.
They do around the outside on the ceiling, along the corner of the ceiling, they do a
Upper walls.
diorama. Yeah,
Upper
they
walls.
do. They do a diorama around the whole building they're constantly adding to it. So it's a big mural diorama of Marvel and Star Wars and just action
Yep.
sequences. It's quite
Yep.
something.
G.I.
As you
Joe,
walk in, you're
Transformers.
greeted by Groot on one side of the door and
Yeah.
Treebeard on the other. And there's a bunch of Muppets and stuff hanging up. As you go down, continue into the store, you run into their superhero dioramas, which is a mix of Marvel and DC. You come around the back into the back wall, which is all G.I. Joe, which then leads into He-Man. And then you come around what would be the left wall on the door, and that's where they have a lot of their sci-fi and their large statues. So you see some stuff you see Predators, Terminators, Aliens. There's a slab of Han Solo and Carbonite in there. There's all sorts of the helmets, and the way they have that wall arranged is really like the Predators trophy room.
Mhm.
So that you're seeing Iron Man's helmet and Stormtroopers helmets and all sorts of other stuff. And then right above the gaming customer service counter is the Star Wars, where they have built a giant Death Star. And
Yeah,
then
it's huge.
throughout the store, you just see like Iron Man, life-size Iron Man is flying. There's the Silver Surfer from the Fantastic Four movies in there. You'll see Muppets. You'll see horror stuff. If you want to check it out, you can YouTube Toy Traders Kevin Smith. He did a video several years ago because he had heard about it. He walked in and he was blown away. He is now a regular customer there, which is awesome. It's about 20 minutes long, but it really doesn't do it justice because it's old. So, like Seb's saying, they add to it constantly.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah,
great. And
cool.
just the way Mike's eyes bugged out when he saw it, I'm like,
it's just-
oh, Sherry's never letting him out of the house with us again.
Never allowed to go
We
back
took him
there.
down. We took him down to a concert in downtown Vancouver, and the problem is we took him to the toy store the next day. That's
Yeah,
where
that's
we are,
nice.
folks.
That's
It's
where
not
we
the,
are in
the,
life.
the midnight debauchery. It's we went to the hobby shop.
It's nerd hobby stuff. Yeah,
But I think that's a good segue. I mean, nerd hobby stuff, and what better than nerd hobbies, especially if you're coming down with a cold like I am today, than sitting around and watching movies that you can watch over and over and over again. Mike, you mentioned one early on. Do you want to kick it off with that?
Oh well, who doesn't love the Goonies, man? Like the Goonies is a movie I can almost recite every single line and every single scene, and it drives my kids nuts. That if I put it on, like I told you guys before we started, I put it on like a month ago, and they both were like, "Really? Again?" And I'm like, "Yes, again," because it's awesome.
Goonies is
Yeah.
such a good movie.
It's
Yeah.
such a good. It's just I don't know. It's just one of those ones that really takes you back to feel like you were a kid again, and you just kind of you just get into that headspace of just the innocence and all that, and
Yeah.
you know all the offside jokes about Chunk and stuff like that. And
Do you
No,
do
it's
you
back before
think
politically correct was even
Right.
born. And it
Yeah,
was
right.
awesome.
do you think that kids outside of our age group don't resonate with it because they didn't live through that era of
Yeah.
exploration like we did? You know,
Yes.
like when we were kids, we used to wander into forests
right,
and
you go
bogs and
look.
stuff for
We always
exploring.
went
Like,
looking for treasures, right?
can't
That's-
really do that these days, but
No, actually,
So-
I had some cousins come over on the wife's side, and they're older, like they're in their early 30s. So I'm like, "Oh, have you guys ever seen the Goonies?" They're like, "Well, what the hell is the Goonies?"
oh my god.
Son of a bitch.
I'm like, "What?" So I we put it on, and they lasted about 20 minutes, and then they were downstairs playing video games. And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm watching the Goonies by myself."
Yeah, well,
And I
I'd
was
have
like,
kicked him
"All right."
out.
Right?
No, you
Okay,
take
you guys
your
no longer welcome.
carcasses away from this residence, please, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
absolutely.
I mean, like Seb was saying, you guys have seen where I live, right? Now
Mhm.
Yeah.
it takes a while to really get the property line. But um, that tree line to like sort of to the south of my house is actually on the property. There's a nice big creek that goes through there. There's
Oh,
turtles, there's beavers, there's
cool.
there's fallen trees, there's like swampy marshy area. There's otters actually come through there. So we have
No
seen
kidding.
that before.
Wow.
You couldn't have kept me out of there at the age when we moved in here almost 10
Wow.
years ago that my kids have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't have dynamited them out of the yard for the most part. I mean,
Absolutely.
sure, there's a case for, well, we don't want to get caught over there with the cows because we're not supposed to be in the same pasture as the cows. And if we're over there playing, there's that risk. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, sure. But if the cows are on the north pasture, you're fine. I'd have been in there. I'd have been coming home. I would have looked like Arnold in Predator. I'd have just been caked in mud, like shoes and socks getting reeking of mildew. And I know this because it happened when I lived in Nanaimo. It happened. It was different when I lived in Kamloops because it was more of that dry, dusty.
There is no mud here.
No, there's no mud there, but it's more like that scene out of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly where they think they're being rescued in the desert by the Confederate army, and then they just start beating the dust off themselves, and it's blue underneath, and like balls.
Yeah.
And that's
Good movie, by the way.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
that was our childhood, and that's Goonies. I mean, it gets a little more involved and intense. I don't ever recall running across criminals on the run, but
No, not really.
let alone a pirate ship. But that was always the dream, right? And that was one of those movies as a kid, you were always hoping. You're out there playing in the woods, playing in the marsh, playing in the creek, going, I'm hunting One-Eyed Willie's treasure. I am Indiana Jones with the sword and the whip from Temple of Doom, and you're Indiana Jones with the whip and the gun from Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff like that. And it's nope, my kids just wouldn't do it.
No, that's amazing that they were able to experience sort of a little taste of what we had as children. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they could have, but they didn't. I mean, and to the point. So I made a motivational treasure chest for our little buddy Spencer, sort of a long-term goal setting thing. And what I painted it up like was I had this it used to be for a hazmat kit at work, but it was an expired kit. We had to throw it out, and it was this wooden chest with rope handles. So I painted the ropes gold, and little gold around the inlay. I painted the rest of it black, and then I put a pirate skull and the initials WBP on it.
And you buried it somewhere, and he's got to go find.
No, I painted a lot gold, and it's just like, here's. I sent him a little message in a bottle, and it's like, this is. God, I hope he's not one of the ones listening to this right now because I just ruined the whole thing. But I did a little message in the bottle for him and said, and I did a whole thing, but I did it. WBP is William B. Podlamby, which is One-Eyed Willie's real name.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow!
I even did the name of the Inferno, which was the name of the ship across the bottom there. So he now has, for his long-term goals, because it's hard to set for kids that are that age, they come in a little message in a bottle. He's like, okay. And so we can sort of motivate him like that. And then the theory behind that is we're all at the store. It's like, oh, it's like a $3 thing. You know, the kid would like this. So instead of giving it right to him, it goes in the chest. So when he gets this long-term goal, he achieves it, he opens it up. One-Eyed Willie has sent him a whole thing of treasure.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And so
that's amazing.
I took that and I based that off of the Goonies. Why? Because the Goonies is rad.
It is rad, yeah.
It is.
Right? And I mean, just watching, I watched the first episode of Loki last night, and there's Data.
Yep.
Yeah,
Short round.
Right, I'm like, oh, I knew nothing about it but yeah. So Seb, what do you got for a movie you can watch over and over again?
Well, let's stay with Short Round, and we'll go with any of the first 3 Indiana Jones. Honestly, I mean, Indiana Jones is such a character that's created. I just find myself, if it's on, I can just leave it on and just watch it. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen any of the 3 over and over and over and over again. There's just such a endearing, rewatchable quality of those movies. You know, just the dynamics. There's always like a character that he's warring with through the whole movie. You know, it's Miriam, the first one. It's whatever her name is in the second one, Kate Capshaw. Can't
Willis
remember her.
Scott.
Willis
Mhm.
Scott, yeah. And then his dad in the third one, which, you know, Sean Connery and Harrison Ford together,
Yep.
who I think were only about 5 years apart, but
Connery looks so
like
old.
in real life,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
or something really close, but he played his dad. It was just, you know, it's just so good. They're so good. Yeah, I can just, you know, it's on, I'll just leave it on and watch it,
Yeah.
you know. So
I don't
Yeah.
find it as much with Temple of Doom, but I agree with Raiders, absolutely. With Last Crusade, absolutely. I remember seeing Last Crusade in the theater with my family as a kid, and I was like, "This is awesome."
yeah, it's
And
arguably
it
the
was-
best one of the three. I always remember the Big
mm.
Bang, thing where oh God, what's her name?
Oh yeah, I know that the theory where in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, if he wasn't in the movie at all, it would have ended exactly the same way. They would have opened the chest at the end. They all would have died. Indiana Jones did not even need to be in the movie.
That's fun. I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. That's hilarious.
So
Yeah,
you know,
it's,
they would have
yeah,
still
that
found the
kinda-
ark. They would have opened it up, and they would have all died.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember seeing that episode when it first aired. I'm like, that's not true. And I had the same. I was going through that exact crisis as the guys were through the entire. Like, no,
It's
because,
so true.
oh wait, no, that's and that yeah, it's 100% true. It is a good argument for even if you fail, keep trying because it'll make you a better person. Because he did, he failed
Yeah.
at everything in that movie. He just came out a better person. He got the girl, and apparently blessed by God, because you know didn't melt. So that's kind of key. Not melting is actually a firm rule I have in life.
Yeah, don't melt. Melting is bad.
Yeah, melting
Like-
sucks. You don't want to do that.
I don't like melting, and I have a firm no plummeting rule as well.
Yeah, don't plummet.
Well, there was
Don't
that.
plummet without a parachute.
I won't give any of Loki away, but there was a little bit of that melting thing conversation between Ouroboros, Loki, and Morbius. It was pretty funny actually.
Wait, Morbius is in Loki?
Mobius.
Oh, Mobius. Not
Sorry.
Morbius.
Not Morbius.
I'm
not
like, Jared Leto's in Loki.
Yeah, Jared Leto is playing everybody in the show. Actually,
Oh my God.
no, yeah.
Go see
my bad.
Morbius. There's a rewatchable one. It's not. It's
No.
not rewatch.
Don't
It's not-
Seb, don't give people that advice, man. Don't do that.
I've actually never seen that, so
Morbius?
Keep it that way.
I'm kind of good.
Keep it that way.
It was on How to Get This Made, so I watched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it anyways, just because you know I've read a couple of comic books in my life,
Just a few.
One or two.
and I just had to see how bad it was, and it is horrifying how bad that was. I mean, that plummeted straight, and no plummeting rule. This one plummeted straight
Really?
to the bottom of the list.
Oh God,
I mean,
really?
no,
It's funny though, because Jared Leto can be such an amazing actor, but I think he handcuffs himself in the situation where he wants to method to the extreme. And sometimes you just need to scale it back a bit to make it real for
Yeah.
the show. If you're diving so far into it that it's now, I don't know, it's just that,
It's
you know,
too much, right? Sometimes
he tries
less
to
is-
do too much, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, look at him in Suicide Squad when he played the Joker. It's like, I think you lose the sense of the essence of the character because you're trying to go too far into crazy, so
Mhm.
to speak, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah,
It's a-
but like
it's a fine line. Some actors can pull it off, and some can't, right?
yeah, like he's done some really good work, you know, Jared Leto, earlier on in his career. So I think he's got an Oscar nomination, does he not? Or maybe he,
yeah, he's got
even
his
won one,
Oscar
hasn't he?
nomination. I thought it was for Dallas Buyers Club, which he was.
Oh yeah, he was
really good
phenomenal
in.
it. He was phenomenal in that.
I'm sure we could look that up. I
I'm doing
hear
it
tell
now.
we have the knowledge to combine.
No.
Yeah, he won. He won the Oscar for it. I
Right.
think
Oh,
And I
supporting
don't-
supporting actor.
for supporting actor. Yeah.
I'm
So-
not sure if the problem in that is Leto's performance so much, because he disappears into a lot of characters. Sometimes it's hard to separate the actor doing a garbage job from everybody else doing a garbage job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't personally enjoy him as the Joker in Suicide Squad.
No.
But he disappeared into it.
He was in
Right?
Requiem
Like-
for a Dream too. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Amazing movie.
He disappeared into it. He did a good job for what they wanted. It's no different than, you know, watching anything else and them going, well, that character's stupid. It's not the actor. It's the choices the writers make the actor do. Right?
For
So I'm not
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure the method isn't working for him, but I'm not willing
No,
to
I'm saying like it does work for him. Like he can, method acting is the choice that he makes to portray his characters. So, but sometimes you're in a situation where you're so method that it takes away from the story, right? Like look at Marlon Brando in The Island of Dr. Monroe. Like he went so method for that, and you know, it was a bit odd and weird, right?
So 100% sure wasn't everybody else's problem. That movie was just
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, the book was good, but apparently, but the movie was trash. But like, I just heard things on set when he was on Morbius on how he would just try to elongate these scenes by saying all this random bizarre stuff because he was in character and whatnot, and you know he wouldn't
fair enough.
Like he needed to go to the bathroom, so to speak. It would take him 15 minutes to go to the washroom because he was walking with a limp to the washroom. They weren't even rolling him. Like, you don't have to method the fact that you're crippled. Like, you're at this point you're costing the studio millions of dollars because they're waiting on you. You know, so we gotta wait for Jared Leto to hobble to the bathroom so he can relieve himself and come back to set, which should only take 5 minutes, but it's taking him 20 minutes because his character is crippled and he's on a walker, and people are like, "Are you kidding me?
That's
waiting
amazing.
for you." Like,
yeah,
So-
I would believe it if you told me on set the two most used words by the crew was this motherfucker.
probably.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
So,
Well,
anyways,
okay, while we're talking,
Morbius is not
superheroes-
rewatchable. Okay,
No, it is not. I regret watching it the first time. However, do check out the How Did This Get Made episode of it.
It's so good.
Available everywhere podcasts are. Also, just fantastic podcast. Really, really enjoy it. But while we're on superheroes, I'm going to throw one out for you guys. Rewatchable. This is the most rewatchable of the MCU, in my opinion. The Winter Soldier, Captain America.
okay.
I think that was a really fine example of them doing superheroes inside of another genre, which is something they really were focused on in the early years, which is why I think the MCU really worked for a while, and they've kind of gotten away from it. Is we're not doing a superhero movie. We're doing a spy movie with superheroes in it. And that's why I think the Winter Soldier really, really works. They do a really good job of, you know, setting up that the Winter Soldier's got some stuff going on with Cap. And comic book fans like me know. We knew. It's not something that is a small kept secret. And for regular moviegoers, I'm assuming for Mike, probably even for you, Seb, Bucky is the Winter Soldier. What the fuck is going on there?
Oh,
Sebastian
spoilers.
Stan.
Right? Sorry, it's been a while. And the way they weave the whole thing together, like
He's
pretty
very
sure
good in the movie, by the way.
What's
Sebastian Stan is very good in that
Yeah,
movie.
he's awesome.
Oh, he's Sebastian
Yeah.
Stan. Great.
It's got a good name too.
Robert Redford. I mean, good Lord, they reeled in Robert Redford, who really, this late stage in his career, gave a terrific performance as Director Pierce. And Sam Jackson with that reveal at the end when he lifts the eye patch, just like, got to keep one eye on everything, son. And just the whole deal and the way they allowed it to rock the TV
Scarlett's
shows.
in it as well.
What's that?
Scarlett Johansson is in it as well.
Black Widow and Cap, they were sort of teasing a little something with that. The introduction of Falcon, which I thought they did really well. I mean, it's a
Anthony
bit of
Mackie.
a coincidence that he happened to have that particular set of skills, and they just both out jogging along the reflecting pool. But and which hell of a callback when they did the a cap on your left in Endgame, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
we start with on your left. Well, not start with it. It's I think it's after the cold open, because the cold open, I believe, is the whole deal on the ship with George St. Pierre getting his ass whooped for the first time.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
forgot he's in there.
Yeah, as Batroc the Leaper, and I'm like, you're putting a who and what? Why would you do this? I was
Right.
really, I'm like, okay, GSP, they're probably not going to survive too long, and he does actually make a return in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series on Disney Plus, which is very watchable. The Falcon and Winter Soldier interactions, the banter through that entire show is great. The introduction of the U.S. agent and how that all comes about and why it goes squirrely. If you haven't seen it, check that out. But yeah, the Winter Soldier, just the other week, I was channel surfing one afternoon. And it's like, oh, Winter Soldier's on. Sat down, and I just happened to pick it up at the gunfight in the bridge right before Cap knocks Bucky's mask off and goes, "What the is this?" Just absolutely loved it. Like, I wish Marvel would get back to doing more of that, where it's
Non-traditional Marvel movies.
it's like we're gonna take this genre and we're gonna put superheroes in it instead of we're doing a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably one of the weaker points that they've gotten into.
That's a tough
on.
tough comment to make, because like in one sense, a lot of the masses are expecting a superhero movie, so it's like, at what point does the studio you decide to try something with the possibility of alienating a bunch of fans? Like, look at what happened with She-Hulk. A lot of people don't vibe with She-Hulk because it's a different type of show, right?
They don't vibe with She-Hulk because they don't understand the what's sold in She-Hulk. She-Hulk was a comic character, and I don't mean a comic book character. I mean a comedy character.
Sure,
That's
but a
what
lot of
sold her books.
but the
Everybody-
expectation
the one that-
is different, right? For
It
the average
is.
person, right? So
It is, and they should have been looking at Captain Marvel for that, but they just absolutely shit the bed with that on Captain Marvel. It's not as bad as even I make it out to be, but there's one major point in there with Captain Marvel just drove me right off the deep end and unplugged me entirely. But I am a long-term fan, and that was how they actually portrayed Marvel. No, I was really upset with that.
I'm not saying that it's the wrong approach. I think that you should try things, but when you're dealing with an IP as huge as Marvel, and you're trying to maybe do something different, like look what's happening with Disney right now when they're trying to like totally change what the masses basically expect and want out of Disney, and they're really alienating a lot of fans and basically ruffling their feathers. So
Disney's trying to expand too, right? Like they're having
but why okay,
stuff
so
they're
sure,
having stuff for the kids, but they also need stuff for the parents to watch, or Disney Plus is a waste, which is going pretty well.
Yeah.
I just want to make one other point about She-Hulk. What drove me absolutely nuts was people are like, oh, they just ripped off the Deadpool formula for She-Hulk. No.
Yeah.
Deadpool used the She-Hulk formula in the comic books, which is what then translated to Ryan Reynolds' movies. She-Hulk started it.
Well, most people won't know that.
No,
but Deadpool's more beloved than She-Hulk. It's in terms of regular viewership, I think.
Deadpool full on Tesla She-Hulk. Ripped off the idea, made it famous, and they are now Kleenex and not tissues. Anyways, let's get off of this because we can do a whole show on me praising or shitting on Marvel.
Well, let me just keep on with the comic book, and I'll go to DC.
Yeah,
and my most rewatchable DC, it has to be The Dark Knight.
Oh, thank you so much.
I cannot not watch it when I see Heath Ledger in that. Like, it's just magnetic. Like the way he may have has done the best portrayal of any comic book character in the history of
Mhm.
cinema,
He
and
won
I
an
will.
Oscar for it.
He won an Oscar for it. Yeah.
Mhm.
His portrayal of the Joker is flawless, and it was perfect for what Christopher Nolan wanted and for what that movie needed the Joker to be. So, but yeah, like I remember watching it for the first time, and my expectations was at an all-time high because everyone kept talking about this flawless performance of Heath Ledger, and I was nervous when I watched it for the first time because when you have an expectation that high, a lot of the times it doesn't meet that expectation.
Mhm.
When he first started speaking, I think the first time, like his first actual scene where you see his face is where he meets all of the crime lords,
Mhm.
and he walks in laughing
No, it's
with.
not. It's not.
Well, it's not the
You
bank.
see his face in the cold open.
Yeah, but like it's a lot of mashed up cuts there, right? Like when he has like a full on scene when he does a lot of talking, it's
Because he
yeah,
pulled the mask off at the end of the bank
that's
robbery,
right. Yeah, and then
which
drives
was
away.
yeah, and that whole cold open was the IMAX trailer. I
That's
must have seen
awesome.
that 400 times because it was on 2 previous IMAX films when I was running the IMAX.
And it's still
Um,
good 400 times later.
yeah, and I still sat through and watched it,
Yeah.
and it was one of those movies that if I was working IMAX, technically we weren't allowed to go and do anything else. We had to sit with the projector because of it didn't have the safety systems that the other
Yeah,
ones
to
did.
make
It
sure.
could
Yeah.
really cause a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
So I remember.
I just moved it. I literally went out to the bar, which we had in the theater at that time, grabbed a bar stool, put it in front of the window, turned the volume up in the booth, and I would watch Dark Knight.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The same as I did with Batman Begins, which I slightly prefer, but I totally agree with rewatchability. Mike's been really quiet for a while.
Well,
though.
let me just say this one. Let me just say this one thing about it. It's like I had these expectations of Heath Ledger and what he would do, and as soon as he started speaking, within seconds, I forgot I was watching a movie.
Mhm.
I was just so pulled in by him. And every time he's in a scene, you forget you're watching a movie. You're just glued onto Heath Ledger and how he speaks in his entire aura, how he portrays the Joker. It's something that most actors go their entire careers trying to emulate, and very few will ever get to that level where they become the character, which was
Mhm.
inevitably his wrong, and it
His
couldn't
undoing.
recover from that, with
Yep.
his pills that he was taking, which is unfortunate. But
Mhm.
yeah,
And it also led to Jared Leto having to take a completely different, and not even just Jared Leto, but Joaquin Phoenix. They both had to take a
Yeah.
completely different approach to the character.
Mhm.
yeah,
I did not like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but that's beside the point. The other thing I really enjoyed about The Dark Knight is the way they handled Harvey Dent Two-Faced. It is a
Yeah.
really good B plot with a very believable premise of why is this person that was truth and justice and helping Batman all of a sudden so angry at him? It was probably the best done transition that I've ever seen of a Two-Face, because it used to just be, oh, he was in court and he got acid thrown in his face. Now he hates the mob and Batman. I'm like, well, that's stupid. In
yeah.
this,
They did that really
it
good
was a
job with
very plausible, very well done way of breaking the man's psyche,
yeah.
as well as giving him the scars and the CGI, the makeup, whatever they did there, which is probably a combination of both, was fantastic.
It was.
I will never forget the first time I saw that when he turns in the hospital bed and went shit out loud.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Mike, thoughts? You've been super quiet for 2 segments now.
I've as you guys have been talking about The Dark Knight, I think I've only seen it once.
Oh, you gotta see it again.
I know,
man.
right? Like
You
I
gotta see it
haven't.
again. Do a
I do-
Christopher Nolan
I-
3-pack of the
yeah.
3 movies, as like watch one after the other, not in one day, but like you can watch
Yeah.
them consecutively, and it's so good.
I'm kind of waiting for the kid to say, "Hey, look," because we've watched the Batman with Pattinson,
Yeah,
and I prefer. You guys are probably going to shit on me, but I prefer that version of Batman to any other one.
No, I thought they
Um,
did a really good job with this,
I've
even
seen it.
at 3 hours.
Yeah, I've seen it like 4 or 5 times. And
Same.
I can just. It's got that rewatchability for me, as where The Dark Knight didn't, because Christian Bale drove me nuts. with his
Yeah,
Batman
that's the
voice.
only
It-
negative thing. Yeah, but that's not his doing. That's Christopher Nolan saying,
Oh,
"Give me the Batman voice." Right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
fair
Christopher
enough.
Nolan is
He's the boss.
telling him to do that, right?
Yeah,
So
the
Mhm.
voice was awful, and I
Well, I
could
mean,
never
that's
get over it. I could never get over it.
yeah, and that's one huge negative about Christopher Nolan because he doesn't do what am I looking what's the terminology? ADR? Is that
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
they
additional
record-
dialogue recordings.
Yes, he doesn't believe in it. So whatever they record on the day, they use.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
because he wants to capture the nuance of
Mhm.
he I guess he just I watched the video after I saw Oppenheimer where there's a lot of things that you miss in the dialogue because there's sounds happening all over the place and you're trying to pick
Oh.
up what they're saying, and it's like if you
Mhm.
watch a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, you have to really pay attention to what they're saying because the voice is never great. Like the tone of
Interstellar
the
was
voice.
like that too, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
now that
it's
you
a
say
thing
that.
with Christopher Nolan. Like he just doesn't record ADR because he wants to capture the realness of the moment in the
Okay.
voice, and sometimes it hinders being actually able to hear what the actors are saying. It
Mhm.
happens in Oppenheimer all the time, where it's like you hear all these like great noises and sounds, and but you can't hear what their actors are saying that clearly. So you're like, what? I missed it. What did he say? You know, it
Yeah,
happens with Bane in the third
Yeah.
one where
Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what he's just saying,
know
but
what?
it
And
sounds freaking cool.
I
It's
can't
Sean
believe
Connery in a
that was
mask.
an
What the hell?
ADR.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he doesn't believe in ADR because it's a thing.
So,
We can
yeah.
show you he doesn't like it. But,
That's what the guy in the
yeah,
YouTube video
they-
said, so I don't know if it's 100% true, but
That
I
is
would
true.
believe it. So,
Sure.
yeah.
I can't believe that Bane wasn't ADR'd though. I would believe it that they made it sound like a terrible drive-through speaker on purpose, but I can't believe Bane wasn't ADR'd.
They might have
Um,
ADR'd that specifically because of the Bane character, but for the most part, when he records dialogue, they don't re-record it afterwards. They just leave whatever the wild sounds they have with the dialogue. So
do you have the Blu-ray downstairs? So maybe there's a director commentary on it, and maybe I've just committed myself to the rest of my day.
I think you just
supposed to be
have
cleaning out storage rooms, but yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe a director's. It's been a while since I've done a director's commentary
of the Dark Knight.
of anything. But
Yeah.
I think your
Yeah, it's
point
been
with
years.
Christopher Nolan, though, that has really made me grateful for modern technology. And a lot of times I use this because my wife's sleeping and I'm watching something late or whatever in the same room. Closed captions are really easy to put on now,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Like they
Yeah.
didn't used to be, kids, back in the cathode ray tube days. It didn't used to be. Now that we're in the digital age, closed captions is a thing, and I can just throw it on there. I'm like, oh, that's what he's saying. At least until the closed caption writer is clearly overwhelmed and it's just absolute gibberish coming out of there. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's not what he said.
I know
Um,
some of my friends that I know watch, like they were watching House of the Dragon with the closed captions on because they couldn't understand some of the thick English accents. So they
Wow.
would put it on so they could read it, which I guess makes sense. But I try not to because I find it distracting because I find myself missing what's actually happening because I'm reading, so I'm looking at the bottom of the screen. So
Yeah,
unless you're
there's
sitting
a-
far enough away, but
There's a point I find with that where you got to watch it for a little while so that your brain is registering the stuff across the bottom of the screen,
Yeah.
but you're not actively seeing it. I find it's easier to do if you're watching something in the theater. I remember seeing Brotherhood of the Wolf in the theater, which is all French dialogue. I mean, there is an English dub on the DVD, but watching that in the theater because it looked badass, and it was, but I didn't realize it was all in French. Thankfully, they had the translations at the bottom, and it
Ah, oui.
eventually just clicked where I was sort of passively reading. I was catching it all, and then just out of the bottom of my eye, because it was so big, it was there. Mike, let's shift gears. Let's get back on track. What do you got for us, buddy?
Goonies too. No, just kidding.
Goonies, the return of one Eyed Willie.
Oh, you know what? That's heavily rumored to be a thing. So we got a show coming on that one, maybe. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with the movie because obviously we kind of thought of this last night, this topic, so there wasn't a lot of time to really prep anything. But a movie I don't know, I used to watch a million times was Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
Is the comedy never gets old. It just you know what's coming when he cuts his hand off and sees the book of Farewell to Arms just sitting there on top of the hand in the bucket. It's just it's the stupid comedy. It's the dumb shit. It's the it's the smallest house with 800 rooms in it, and it's all that fun, the blood, the gore, and it's not even violent. It's almost violent, but it's not even scary. It's just like, okay, we're gonna turn a hose on, and we're gonna have so much blood spraying this person. It is completely unrealistic, and it's just, I don't know. Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi as a combo.
Yeah, it's so good.
Army of Darkness wasn't as good for me, but
Army of
think-
Darkness leaned more into the comedy, though.
it did.
I think
Oh, yeah.
So as a whole, I think Army of Darkness was a worse movie, but some of the comedy, like specific comedy bits in Army of Darkness, were so freaking hilarious.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Do
Not
you
much-
think Evil Dead 2 was intended to be a comedy, or do you
Yes.
think they just realized what they had on their hands as they were shooting this horror movie? They're like, fuck.
no, it was always meant to be a comedy.
I think I agree.
100%. Yeah.
Because Evil Dead 1 was like a real loose remake of Evil Dead 1, and they decided to make it funny, right? Because it's the same
Okay.
shit.
Yeah.
It's the
So
cabin and
And
the
they
same
didn't
thing.
really have the budget because there's some very specific flubs in there that they had to leave in because they couldn't afford to redo it.
Yeah.
There's one of the chase scenes through the house where you can clearly see it's a set because
Yep.
the boom operator's legs are in the top of the screen.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
The boom mic does actually fall into the shot a couple of
Yeah.
times. The scene where the old lady, the possessed old lady, is spinning around and flying in the living room. As her ass points towards the screen, you can see the giant tear in the costume straight up her ass crack.
Amazing.
I love
And it's
it.
not even like they can hide it because it is that bright yellow foam, right?
Yep.
And then, like Mike was saying, the book in the bucket, but the whole hand fight
Great.
was
Yeah, so good.
amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you know what? I've had people talk to me about comedy wrestling matches. There's some really weird ones out there. There's a guy that likes to wrestle a tent. There's a very famous wrestler that wrestled a blow up doll. Guys have gone out and it's like, oh, you think I can have a match with a broomstick? Absolutely. Let's go try this. And that's what that
amazing.
hand fight was to me. It was like perfect comedy. It is fighting something that should not be a thing, but the hand is whooping his ass.
Mhm.
Whooping his ass.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was one of the first deluxe DVDs I ever bought. I got the big, like, it looks
The
like
tin?
a chocolate tin. Yeah.
Yes, I have that too.
And there
I've
was
got
like
it too
nothing in it
somewhere.
but a disc. It's like a disc and a small
Yeah.
booklet. Like you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get all, and like, if you were to buy it, well, not now because they don't generally come out, but 10 years ago, it was like, I'm going to get all this cool shit with it. It's like, nope, it's just a disc and
Yeah.
a small booklet.
It's like, what the hell, man? I got the house. Like, I remember that exact same thing when I bought it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. There'll be some cool shit in here. It's like, oh, it's the disc in a book. Whoop
Yeah.
you fucking do.
But you know,
Oh.
it did go back, and if you haven't watched it in a while, the director's commentary on it is amazing because
Yeah.
Sam does point out we fucked up this, couldn't afford to reshoot it. We fucked up this, we couldn't afford to reshoot it. Wait for this moment, you'll see where we fucked this up and couldn't afford to reshoot it.
And that's the
you know,
beauty of small budget, right? Is you
Yeah.
have to leave the warts and all the mistakes in, as opposed to something like The Dark Knight or Oppenheimer, where the budget is limitless.
Oh,
Mhm.
vast. Yeah.
right? You
well,
can
even Sam's recent stuff, like this is still the. Let's not forget that Sam Raimi went from this and he did, you know, Xena and Hercules,
Mhm.
but he also did the first Spider-Man trilogy.
and
Like,
Darkman.
and Darkman.
Yeah.
And like he sort of elevated himself out of that, got bigger and bigger, and is not afraid to go, yeah, fucked it up, but
Yeah.
this is what it is now. And it's
Well, he wasn't happy with how the first one was filmed, or maybe because I think the studio wanted it to be more of a horror movie,
mhm.
the first one, and so when he had the money to redo it, he just made Evil Dead 2, which, like Mike said, is kind of a remake, but it's also a sequel, but it's not.
Mhm.
But it's like, this
Yeah,
is
I
the way I really meant to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, have you guys watched the TV series Ash
Yes.
versus
Yes.
Evil Dead? Is it good?
I'm one season short of finishing it.
Okay,
Oh, it's so
One
good.
of those
it's
ones
on
that I
my
put
list,
down
but
for,
it's
like,
it's there to watch.
Honestly, Seb, you should put it up to the top because it's mindless. It's funny. It's
Give me
there's-
some
And
sugar,
only-
baby.
3
Yeah.
seasons.
there's 4, I believe.
Is it 4?
I think
Yeah,
there's
we
4.
had this discussion recently, and I think that's what got me is I waited in between seasons and forgot about it.
Yeah, they
um,
up and canceled it. Whatever, but
Sacrilege.
it is. But
It happens.
you can understand why they've canceled
Yeah,
better
when-
shows than that, right?
It's very niche.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
totally.
still
they
mad
did
they
it-
canceled Westworld. They had
Yeah.
one season left, but I mean, apparently the fourth season. I have not. I
You know
started
what?
watching the third season.
I think we
There's-
got a show somewhere down the line on
Yeah,
shows that
canceled
needed
shows.
one more season. Because if we want to get
Mhm.
into that, I'm going to tell you about the HBO Spawn animated series all day long. But yeah, I agree with you
Well, I
on the
haven't watched that in a
Westworld.
long time.
Yeah. So yeah, Evil Dead 2, that's good pull. And I think
So
part of the
good.
beauty about doing this so last minute with no time to research is we're not second guessing ourselves.
No.
It's
I'm just going with the gut.
I don't what movie have I watched a million times and still love? Goonies,
Yeah.
Evil
Yep.
Dead 2, Winter Soldier.
Dark
Now,
Knight.
If I may, I'm
Please.
going to switch over to one where if you watch the closed captioning track of it, there's one actor whose lines, when you want to talk about the closed caption guy giving up, holy pissed. It is literally, I looked forward to these scenes on closed captioning so I could finally understand what he was saying. And the closed captioning was just a bunch of question marks. I was so mad.
That's awesome.
Either one of you have a guess?
The Usual Suspects.
No.
I'm thinking the police line with
my
Benicio
God.
because you
Give me
can never
the-
understand.
Benicio?
Give me the keys, you
What the
motherfucking.
fuck?
Okay,
Better
motherfucker.
than that. Snatch, the Brad Pitt scenes.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah.
Now that's probably my favorite Guy Ritchie movie. I like his earlier stuff better. He sort of altered his style in the last couple because those quick cut moments in there sort of disappear. But Snatch was just a brilliant
Yeah.
film.
That's his best
Um,
movie for sure.
You're right. Brad Pitt was so hard to understand. Like it's just like, what the hell are you saying?
Arguably one of Brad Pitt's best performances
Oh,
ever.
absolutely.
Because he just
He is.
reinvents himself as like, yeah, he is the actor that should be the lead. He's like the California good looking, amazing body, strong, lean character, but yet he comes out with these roles like Snatch, like Lestat, like
12 Monkeys.
12
even.
Monkeys, you know, he does these weirder roles and he
Yep.
nails them every time. So
He's not afraid
Yeah.
to stretch his I guess his talent, I guess if you will, to stretch out
Yeah.
and do
Mhm.
different, especially in the 90s. He was still up and coming. He was just doing whatever. California.
yeah, he doesn't stay in the pocket of this leading guy. He'll go
Absolutely
and
not.
do other things that are
Even now,
interesting to him.
he's older. He's like what, 60, and he's still
Yeah.
he still pushes himself to do what he feels passionate about. And I think
Much
that's really
like
cool.
Tom Cruise, but without the executive sort of privileges
Yeah.
Yeah.
or desires, right?
think
He
Eyes
runs
Wide-
his
I
own
think-
production company now, right? So
I think Eyes Wide Shut really closed him to doing anything different,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's
Um,
ever since Eyes Wide Shut, it's been Mission Impossible and all the action movies.
there is some
nonstop.
shit about that movie that
Oh my god, it's yeah,
we,
absolutely.
we can get into that, but let's
Yeah.
talk about the cast here for Snatch. Jason Statham, first time this guy popped on my radar. Obviously, we've talked about Brad. He's
So
dirty
good.
and filthy in the movie, and all I can say about that is "Hush, Periwinkle Blue Boys," which
Charon,
is about the
Charon.
only line you understand of Brad Pitt. Just Periwinkle Blue Boys.
he
Stephen
says
Grant,
Caravan a
and
lot in it
he
too.
was Tommy in Snatch, but he has popped up all over the place
Who?
since.
Who was
Stephen
that?
Graham.
Okay.
He was the shorter of the two.
He's the Jason Statham's right hand man, basically, in the whole
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
His
Um,
buddy.
We had Vinnie Jones, Dennis Farina, and then just a bunch of guys that tend to pop up all over the place. And then even, Frankie Four Fingers, as mentioned, well, you guys were guessing, Benicio del Toro.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
whole thing is great. And just even the way Dennis Farina comes and goes, he's like, I'm going to get this diamond. Goes there, goes through some shit. He's like, fuck this noise, hops back on the plane, gives up on the diamond entirely. It's like, nope,
He
not dealing with it. Fuck it, I'm out.
he has
Not
such a
worth it.
way of like a Guy Ritchie movie within like 3 minutes of watching the movie. You're like, this is a Guy
Mm-hmm.
Ritchie movie. Like he has this way of filming and it's very narrative heavy, basically.
Mhm.
A lot of like quick cuts to different things.
Yeah, the snap cuts, like when
Yeah.
Dennis Farina is getting on and off the plane, and you see that. I think that's what ruined his version of Robin Hood, frankly. But that's exactly it. Is those snap cuts?
It's such a good movie, Snatch. I agree with you.
Yep.
Arguably, some people like Lock, Stock better, but I still
Yes.
like it's
And you know what?
it's a
Artistically,
good
it might be
1A,
better.
1B basically. But
And
yeah,
I got to work at the movie theater when it came out, and the record store when the DVD came out. So we also had a ball going. We get to say Snatch a lot now. Fantastic. Have you seen Snatch? Snatch is great. Love Snatch. Snatch is awesome. I'm gonna go see some Snatch. You wanna come
overusing
see
that.
some Snatch and just. It's like I bought some Snatch last night, and it's like I just rented it. It's
Oh my
and
God.
it
For
was
those of you
awesome.
that don't know, the movie is named after a diamond heist snatch where they're trying
Yes,
to
it's more in
grab
the
a diamond.
more in the theft sort of
Yes.
aspect of the term, but you cannot give me particularly. I was gonna say like early 20s people the opportunity, but no, I'm still right there. I'm gonna use that 100% of the time.
Amazing.
Have you
And,
guys seen his newest movie, The Covenant, with
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No.
yes,
Is it good?
yes, I absolutely 100% recommend it. That is
Okay.
exactly what I meant earlier. I was trying to remember the name of the film. It is it's not what he used to do at all. There's
Yeah, it's a
none of
war
those snap
movie.
cuts.
Yeah.
It is so good, so good. Make time for this. Go out of your way to see it. And honestly, I would watch it more, but it gets on the feels too. It's one of those
Yeah.
ones that's so good it gets all over your feels.
I've seen
it's
clips
hard
of
to
it in
rewatch.
trailers from like certain excerpts of scenes. It looks really good.
It is.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend it enough. You're not going to sit down and watch all 3 seasons of the Evil Dead TV show, but you might find 2 hours to watch this.
Oh, you can do all Evil Dead pretty quick.
Yeah.
Episodes aren't that long.
Yeah,
and
it's not a thinker.
No, absolutely not.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's in my repertoire of things to watch.
Yeah. Or just sprinkled in between.
Yeah.
If you need a break if you're trying to catch up on something, just throw on a couple
Yeah.
episodes, and you just your brain melts away, and there's just blood everywhere. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's just great.
That's how I hammered through all of Ahsoka and most of the last season of Rebels yesterday. We had like a week and a half worth of laundry that needed to be folded because everybody was like, let's just get the load in, get the load out. I got to go. It was one of those things where we were just hammering through laundry and nobody had time to deal with it. So, and like a ground express parcel, we eventually got it 2 weeks
That's
later.
right.
And that's what I did yesterday I sat down and Star Wars'd my way through my day.
Nice.
I had a bunch of driving kids around in between there, which sort of also screwed my day over as to what I wanted to do. But it did allow me. It's like, okay, well, I got to drive this kid here, come back, drive this kid here, come back. But in between, I'm just folding towels, folding laundry, and watching stuff. It reminded me of when my kids were little, because that's how I discovered shows like Supernatural. But anywho, Mike, you got another film for us?
Well, I can't do this without saying a Star Wars movie, and I'm wondering if I should go traditional or be a bit of a troll to make sense.
Well, I'm going to ask you right now, how many of us do you want to piss off? Because I mean, it was you versus Seb the other day. It was me versus you yesterday. It was supposed to be me versus Seb today, but we've been getting along fairly well.
You guys have been getting along
what
too.
the hell is going on? We're wearing the same hat too. I look better in it. That's true. You did get yours first.
I'm gonna go with 2 of them because I can watch them infinitely and they both don't bore me. The first one is obviously Empire Strikes Back, the greatest.
Attaboy.
Star Wars anything ever made.
Greatest.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Whatever.
Put one over the bow early.
Okay. Then what's number 1? Shithead.
Return of the Jedi.
Oh, fuck off. Lazy, boring, stupid rehash shit is what Return of the Jedi is. Anyways, except for the Vader Luke stuff, everything else sucks. And then
what's your number 2?
Other one, Mike?
It's
Empire
and episode 3. So fuck you both. Yeah, that's right.
You know what? Episode 3 was, it was the best of the prequels.
It's not. The reason is it's not because of the quality of the movie. The dialogue sucks. It doesn't look very good. But the potential and what it is the fall of one of my favorite characters in anything is.
I'll give you the high
right.
ground.
It's not the quality of like I said, it's not the quality because the quality isn't there. But anyways, fuck you both.
I'm sorry.
What?
it
I'm
was
giving you the
funny.
high ground.
But no, I agree. As Revenge of the Sith was by far the best of the prequels.
It could have been
deserves
better.
a top
Absolutely.
half of the list sort
I
of
will
deal.
say the Yoda fight was just freaking phenomenal in that one. Where Yoda lightsabers. Like he
Mhm.
fights Palpatine in the
And,
council
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
right? And they're
Council
throwing
chambers.
discs at each other, and
and what it
that
and
was
what
so
a
epic.
difference in like sort of technology between episode 2 and 3, because the Yoda fight in
Yeah.
episode 2 was dumb. All they could do was make him jump around like a Looney Tune.
But
And in
I
this
remember
one,
watching that in theater though for the first time, and everyone
was-
was just like wide-eyed, going, "Oh my
Well,
god, we're gonna see
yeah.
Yoda with a lightsaber."
and then it was underwhelming.
That's what it
but
was.
But they did it well. I don't know if it was underwhelming. It was short. It was very quick. It was like
They-
bid, brrr, and then it was done, right?
Yeah, it was hard to follow. And then in the
Yeah.
third one, they really slowed him down and gave him sort of
There's
they
more
could-
emotion in the fight.
yes,
Yes, you could
absolutely.
feel it. Yeah.
Mhm. And he knew he was going to lose. He knew he was done, and he had to run. But yeah, I think it's the idea of 3 that really gets me. It's not
Mhm.
the movie itself. It's the idea of, because now 20 years later, we have all this, stuff with Hayden in the Obi-Wan show and there's-
Ahsoka.
and Ahsoka. There's Hayden stuff, and which I think is absolutely amazing that they are reusing him, bringing him back, and
Mhm.
the fans love him. Like he kind of got a raw. Like a lot of Star Wars actors get the raw deal. They don't do anything outside
Yeah.
of Star Wars, right? So to acknowledge that the prequels weren't his fault. Like it wasn't him.
No,
It was,
he came in and did a job.
he did what he
Right?
and his vocal cadence was exactly the same as Darth Vader, especially in episode 3. He talked
Mhm.
just like Vader did in the same sort of rhythmic way,
Mhm.
and it just sounded choppy and stupid when you see it coming out of like a regular face as opposed to a helmet. But that was his method.
There
But-
is a video that I believe I sent you, Mike, where the fandom of Star Wars, and I don't know if I sent it to you, Matt, or not, but the fandom of Star Wars has embraced Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen is brought to tears when he's like at like a
Some sort of
con, yeah.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't stop clapping and giving him a
Yeah.
standing ovation for what
Absolutely.
he's meant to the thing. So
Well, you got to remember, this came out. Hayden started in 2002
Yes.
as Anakin,
Mhm.
if my
but
math is correct.
he's got
And
a
you
great
see
look
this-
for Anakin too.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think, and Revenge of the Sith it's a bridge, because you need to get Anakin from here to Vader.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what he did. He had to do exactly what Mike was saying. He had to move like Vader. He had to talk like Vader. It's no different than the fact that Ewan McGregor's entire performance in the prequels, in his TV show, and in anything else he has done as Obi-Wan is an impression of Alec Guinness.
Mhm.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. That's what you need to be, because you cannot have a character that is so far away from one when you're trying to meet the other.
Yeah.
You need them to mesh, right?
I think the main
you see
problem.
this-
Sorry, go ahead.
You see this exactly what you're talking about, Seb, in professional wrestling. John Cena recently returned to SmackDown. Anybody that watched professional wrestling, watched WWE between about 2006 and 2000 and today, really knows that Cena was heavily split crowd. It was the kids that were cheering him, the girls that were cheering him, and the guys booed the shit out of him.
Mm.
Booed him out of the building. And that's exactly what happened with Hayden Christensen.
Mhm.
That generation was on board with him.
Yeah.
Our generation, because we had the means to get on the internet and shit all over him, we did.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't personally. I didn't mind his performance. I thought I knew where they were going, and that's exactly to Mike's point, is they had to get him to the Vader thing.
Yeah.
And John Cena came back to SmackDown, the entire crowd. It was a much bassier ovation. Why? Those kids have grown up. They have
Right.
their own money
Yeah.
now, and they are the dominant fans. It is no different
Mhm.
than the fact that old men in politics are always there. Why? Because they're the generation of the biggest voting bloc.
Mhm.
But also with John Cena though, it's like he's put in he's gone to war for the WWE audience, and
But
there's
he
a
didn't-
level of respect and appreciation, and you know what, you gave us 16 years of amazing shows, right? So
And the
they're
most
thanking
vocal
him
voices
now.
of anybody ever.
Yeah. of
right?
any icon ever. Like that.
But
That's
he was-
just yeah.
It's no different than Hayden, though. He was assigned a role,
Mhm.
and a good chunk of the fan base didn't like it. Guess
Mhm.
what? That's now switched.
Yep.
We appreciate him since he's gone. We've appreciated Hayden since he's
Yeah.
gone because we get it now. Those fans have grown up and gotten it now, and those that still want to hate on it have to admit that
Hey, what are
In
you
my
supposed to
older-
do
yeah.
if the director gives you a script and says read it this way?
Well, it's the same
Yeah,
as the
Right?
Christian
Like what
Bale
are you
thing,
supposed
right?
to do? Right? You
It's the
got to
same
you
as
got
the
to read
Bale
it that
Batman.
way. Yeah.
It's the Bale Batman. Okay, you gotta do this stupid voice. Oh, really? You're like, fuck, I have to do that voice?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I'm Batman. It's like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're told what to do. And as misguided as the prequels were, like, I can't handle it. Episode 2 is terrible. Like, it's god awful. But you know,
There's just there's too much my whole problem with the 3 episodes is that there's so much focus on like technical things that are happening in the universe that you lose the personal identity of
Yep.
of the
Yes.
characters, right? Because it's all about trade federations and
no one cares
blockades
about
and
yeah,
you know,
no one
but
cares about a
what's the
blockade
story in the first
Yeah.
3? It's about a father and son, right? But I
Mhm.
mean, you don't know it's a father and son initially. It's just somebody going to destroy an evil force that he finds out is his father,
it's a-
right? Like it's
a
such a
standard
simple
Princess
story.
Knight and Dragon story, right?
Yeah.
Standard.
Yep.
Now here's one thing I want to say also that is just recently occurred to me. I guess it was probably last week at some time. Mike, you and I discussed this in the group chat to Seb's chagrin because he had no idea what we were talking about. The way they took the last season of Clone Wars, specifically the last 4 or 5 episodes,
Mhm.
and they did it much like they did the second and third Jason Bourne movies where they overlap each other.
Yes.
So good.
Mhm.
So good because it's, hey, I need help with this. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
This just happened over here, and
Yeah.
Anakin's gonna go do this, and like, I'd love to come help you, but I gotta go sort a motherfucker out, and Anakin's got to go deal with this, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then Order 66 is given, and the
it
whole
kind of
thing
makes
goes sideways.
episode 3 better when you see it the perspective of other characters that were sort of out on the periphery of
Yes.
Order 66, and the gravity of what Palpatine had, all the chess pieces he had put out to screw the Jedi
Yes.
over. To Yoda, Yoda was misguided too. He didn't see it coming, or he did. He was just too blinded to see it. But
Yeah, and that's again in those last seasons of Clone Wars, you see the moment where Yoda starts cluing in. He's like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you see his first Dagobah, right? He didn't know what a Force Ghost was for the longest time until he
Yep.
went to Dagobah, and that was because there was some weird shit going on,
Mhm.
right? Like you see in that Yoda slowly cluing in, and they do a good bridge with that where it's Yoda between the start of the Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
and the last few episodes and Revenge of the Sith. It's like, oh shit. He's like,
Yep.
somebody's moved the extra chalkboard. If you remember those from school, the multiple chalkboards
Yep.
that slide, you can see the rest of the equation. He's like,
Oops.
oh, for the love of God.
Yeah, we're done. It's over.
Yeah. Right. And that overlap. And you also see that in the end of Rebels, how it overlaps A New Hope and to a point Rogue One as well.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed the way they pieced that together. And I read the other day, heavily rumored that Ahsoka movies are going to focus on basically redoing the last few episodes of Clone Wars in live action.
That would be absolutely killer.
I think
do-
if they do it the right way,
Mhm.
obviously you don't want to go shot for shot because we've already seen it, but
Mhm.
yeah, like bring it to the masses that didn't see it. I slept on these 2 shows.
Mhm.
And it was
And-
through
and
your
they-
wisdom,
and they-
sir.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
they
put
both.
this out there for perpetuity now that it's on record. Through Mike's wisdom, I watched the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. I went back. It's like, well, just check out a couple on Disney Plus. And it's like, well, the first and the essential Ahsokas is episode 2. I've seen the first 6. All right, fine. Let's just go hammer through Clone Wars, hammer through it. And Mike was right. 100%. Mike, you were right. Save it as your ringtone. Do whatever you need to do. But yeah,
Just gonna record and loop that for Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
Mike
you
was
were
right. Mike was right. Mike was right. That's going to be playing in my head
that's the new
forever.
theme song for the show. We're gonna set that to a beat.
Love it.
But yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with your two choices there anymore.
I'm glad. I'm really glad that it paid off for you. And yes, now that you're done Ahsoka, it makes way more sense.
You know what? And it wasn't even so much the last couple episodes. It was all the little tidbits in the first 2 or 3, right? Like Clancy Brown in live action. I'm like,
hell yeah.
Oh, now I get it.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. The little Loth cat kicking around. I'm like, now I get it.
Well, and the owl,
the owl at the end,
right?
I never would have got that significance. I mean, okay, cool. So there's an owl there, whatever. Never would have got it if I hadn't gone through that. So yeah.
And if Seb ever watches any of these shows,
I will watch it.
We can really deep dive what the representation of the owl, and especially the ending scene with Balin, what all that means, and what's in store for the galaxy, kind of thing. Because I don't want to. Because I could just say a bunch of shit and it would ruin everything for Seb. He'd never have to watch it.
No, we can't do that. Balin is standing on a mountain that is carved much like in Lord of the Rings, where it's just a giant statue. And
the two statues in Fellowship when they're going down the river, it's basically
it's much like that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
and when they did the full pan back, I went, oh
shit,
I know exactly what that is. That would have been lost on me.
Yeah,
absolutely lost on me.
Yeah, man.
So and great call on those 2 Star Wars movies again. Like, I think so. Rogue One and Solo for me sort of fit in there as well. I really enjoyed Solo. I'll get beat up by that later, but Seb, you got another one for us real quick? We'll go for 90 minutes on this one.
Okay, yes, I'm gonna change the pace here a little bit, and I'm gonna go with courtroom drama.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with A Few Good Men.
Oh wow.
It is such an incredible movie, and it's not even the part at the end where you can't handle the
truth.
The whole movie is good, and it's just it's a young, non-professional army lawyer that doesn't understand what it means to be a militant person as Jack Nicholson is in it, but it's just the whole dynamic and how he grows as a lawyer. Like, the whole movie is great. It's just so watchable. I just find myself, it was released in 92, and I just find myself whenever it's on, I can just leave it on and watch it. It's just full of great moments. So yeah, I don't know.
I haven't watched that in 1,000 years. I need all these movies we're talking about. I need to rewatch them all.
It's so good. Yeah, it's just, there's a whole bunch of movies that I could have said, but I let me land on that one. It's just, anytime it's in the courtroom, it's phenomenal. And Kevin Bacon plays the defending lawyer, I guess, or the prosecuting lawyer. Sorry, because Tom Cruise is defending the private. It's got Demi Moore in it, Kevin Pollak's in it, Jack Nicholson's in it. Just a phenomenal movie, great cast, easy to watch, So yeah.
You know where I could find to watch that?
I mean, obviously on, I don't know, it's probably on like Crave or something.
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. And like just Demi Moore and Kevin Pollak as the foils on the defense team for Tom Cruise. He's sort of taking it half-assed. The evolution of Tom Cruise character, where he's like, he wins a lot because he pleased them out, and like that's his reputation. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this softball game, and you come meet me at the softball game, and we'll discuss the plea. And he's taking batting practice, and Kevin Pollak's like, is this how you work? Like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, no, we'll just plea it down to this, and it turns out not so much, right? Like.
Yeah,
really well done. So you mentioned courtroom drama there.
You can rent it on Amazon Prime, I think.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just the whole ending part too. It's just because it's like, don't put him on the stand. Don't go head to head. And it's just Tom Cruise versus Jack Nicholson. It's like, are you going to break him? He's a master at what he does. He's a master at not revealing what he actually did. And just that whole, ending conversation is just so fluid, and it's probably Jack Nicholson's most iconic monologue that he's ever delivered is at the end of that movie,
Which
you
is
know,
saying something.
which is
Yeah,
saying
right?
something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just when he breaks and he just goes, "You can't handle the truth," and then he goes on a spiel about like, "I'm the one out there defending the country. What are you doing?" You know, it's so good, and you can see the whole courtroom's like, "Holy shit, we got him."
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
so good.
He goads him
Anyways.
into being pissed off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
to the
that-
point where but he does it in a way where he attacks his credibility, everything he stands for as a human being, the honor, what it means to be a Marine when you are there defending your country, you
Mhm.
know, and he attacks the pride of that, which if anyone knows, Marines have an incredible amount of pride in what they do in
Mhm.
their collective
so.
group, right? Rightly so. So when he attacks that to the breaking point and he finally breaks, you're just like, oh my god. If anyone hasn't seen the movie, I highly suggest watching the movie. It is so good.
I probably
So
haven't
freaking
seen
good.
it since the 90s, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I am going to. I'm going.
Dude. If you watch it, you'll be amazed. You're like, Seb,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like the
Yeah.
Marines in The Rock with Matt's favorite actor, but you know.
Well, it's a good segue into Matt's next movie.
I may have threatened a coworker's life with that a couple weeks ago.
Let's
In a
cut the
safety
chit-chat
meeting that I
a-hole.
happened to look like they used that. It was some PowerPoint presentation coming out of head office, and we were all on mute in the boardroom. But one of them used that GIF from Con Air, shit.
Shit.
With his hair blowing in the wind, and
Oh, it's
one of the
amazing.
guys
Come
said,
on,
"Oh,
man.
it's Matt." And I turned on him in the middle of the meeting. I'll drag you outside and kill you right now.
Surprised
Okay,
you
what-
didn't-
Everybody was like,
What's a better
"Whoa,
movie?
that's the guy that
Con
called
Air
Dick
or The
Jones."
Rock?
Oh, The Rock
that?
all day long.
The Rock.
You think
all day
so?
long.
Okay.
Yes, all day long.
No,
It's like James, it's a James Bond
digress to
sequel.
Chris Rock and Dogma
Man.
with Con Air.
But you got John Malkovich in Con Air. He's
fuck
so
off.
good.
You know
He's
what? No, I'm not
so
doing this. I'm not
Cyrus.
talking about movies we enjoy watching and talking
Cyrus
about
the
Nick
Virus.
fucking Cage.
Cyrus the Virus.
Which is part of the
Steve
reason that
Buscemi's in it.
Yeah, Danny Trejo.
Damn.
It's oh my god, it's so bad.
Yeah,
Con Air's
I
awful.
I
John
almost
Cusack's
got
in
through
it.
this without him coming up.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's-
So anyways, I'm
Anyone
gonna-
that has their at the end bingo card with them, you can knock off Nicolas Cage reference.
Right.
yeah,
You're welcome for
Wrestling, you
bringing
can
that
also
up.
knock that
Yeah.
off.
yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can knock that.
Yeah.
You're at the end drinking game. You should be on your third coffee.
Right.
With
So I'm
Bailey's
going to
in it, I
wrap
hope.
this up real quick with one that I would be
Sure.
surprised if either one of you had seen, let alone seen repeatedly, because it was very low key. It's
Oh, interesting.
John Travolta.
Mhm.
It's Sam Jackson.
Pulp Fiction. No, just kidding.
Basic.
Basic.
Basic. Came out in 2003. John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Giovanni Ribisi, Tim Daly. It's a mystery.
Really?
So a Marine sergeant, training sergeant, goes missing on a training mission, thought dead. Several of his guys come back either dead or grievously wounded, including Giovanni Ribisi, who gives one of the performances very early in his career where you went, "Yep, this guy's gonna be one of our better character actors." And it's a mystery. John Travolta comes in as the MP, the military investigator, trying to sort it all out, and it's a lot of flashbacks that change depending on who's telling the story, and you're not 100% sure what happens until the very, very end. And
I
then
don't think I've seen it.
the whole thing gets laid out for you. You get to that scene near the end where it's like, oh shit, that's what this was. And it's really hard to discuss,
Oh,
but it is
interesting.
one of the better mysteries I've ever seen. And it's one of those ones when you go back and you get involved in it, you can kind of forget the outcome because you're just along for the ride at that point. It's not quite like Fight Club where everybody's motivation changes when you watch it after the first time. You're watching it and you do eventually you realize it. Okay, this is this is that, and this is that, but you get sucked back into it. You get sucked back into the mystery. And the way they do it, where it's literally the same scenes that kind of repeat themselves as it was basically it's who depending on who's recounting what happened out on patrol, it changes until you finally get it coalesced at the end and you're like, God damn. Fantastic movie.
I have not seen it.
It doesn't
have you seen
pop
it?
up.
No, I've never seen it, and the Rotten Tomato rating is really high.
Yeah.
21%.
So it is it is definitely worth your time to watch. You know what? It fucked him off. And granted, that just sort of shot me in the foot. But I'm gonna recommend this one. It very rarely pops up just as I'm channel surfing.
Well, just on the cast alone, dude. Like it's Travolta, Connie Nielsen, Sam Jackson, Giovanni Ribisi, Taye Diggs, Harry Connick Jr.
Connie Nielsen.
Yeah, who doesn't love Connie Nielsen? Come on.
Yeah,
you know that she's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Seb. Go ahead.
She's starring or alongside a great cast in a movie that I was almost about to mention here, but she's gonna be in Gladiator 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know who else is in Gladiator 2? Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal.
God.
What do you mean?
Did they need to make Gladiator 2?
Yeah, because it's about the son. It's about Lucian the son. Lucius. Anyways.
Honestly, Gladiator was so good. They don't need to ruin it by making a sequel 20 years later. That's my opinion.
Could be a Top Gun effect. It's been enough time.
You know
right?
Seb does have a point with that. I mean, if there's been rumors about this for quite a while, so it could be as like, no, this ain't it. Go fix this script, and then it could be one of those things. Like you said, it could be a Top Gun deal. Makes me nervous because I am inclined to agree with you right off the bat, Mike. Because we don't need to touch this.
Yeah,
I also said the same thing about Top Gun.
Yeah,
so did I until I saw it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is the coolest."
Yeah. They did it justice. Yeah, there's been enough time. I mean, when did Gladiator come out? Like 08 or something?
No,
06?
No, it was like 2000.
So it's been 20. Yeah, so it's slated to come out next year, I think, Gladiator 2. So I think they're starting pre-production now, but it's been 24 years. So Lucius, was, I don't know how old he was in the first one, like 8, 9 maybe, something like that.
Yeah, he was little.
Yeah, so he's going to be in his 30s in this one. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with the story.
Mm-hmm.
Do they throw him into the gladiator pits like they did Maximus? Who knows? But I'm very interested.
I think if they're going sort of with that kid, I think they would have just Game of Thrones him and just fed him to somebody and been done with it. Killed every lineage.
Yeah, but then you don't have a sequel.
Exactly. Kill all the lineage of Russell Crowe's character and be done with it. That's what they would have done. But
yeah,
this is
no, it's not Maximus's character. It's kid.
Oh, it's not.
It's the queen's kid. Yeah,
the queen's son. That is.
Yeah.
They don't flat out say it, but it's heavily suggested that maybe Maximus wasn't 100% loyal to the wife. And it is slated as in production and expected November 22nd, 2024.
So next year
we have about 13 months.
Anyway, sorry to derail the basic conversation. I don't mean it's a basic conversation. It's a conversation about basic. Yeah.
There's not a lot to say about it because I'm the only one that's seen it. However, it is a wonderful mystery, one of the better mysteries I've seen because of the way they do it. I highly recommend it. Basic from 2003, John Travolta, Sam Jackson. Check it out.
Or you can check out their more well-known movie, Pulp Fiction.
We've all seen it 15 times.
Yeah, no, that's a good, because that's off the board, which a lot of people probably wouldn't have actually thought about watching it. So,
no, I want to watch it just to see if it lives up to the hype of the 21%.
Yeah, just like Triangle Sadness. I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. Now we're fighting. Jeez, all right, now we're into it.
Ding, ding. Seb has gone absolute full dipshit, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize. He's been drinking heavily and he can't handle his alcohol.
He's
not allowed to drink at work, and as we discussed, he doesn't go out to the bars. So,
hey, Bailey's and coffee's the thing. Come on now.
Okay. Oh, I know.
I almost did this morning.
I got. Yes. I have friends. That's all they drink, and I can't imagine why they do it at 10 p.m. at night. But hey,
I actually just have water in here.
I'm personally working on a virgin screwdriver.
Orange juice, yummy.
Vodka and orange juice. No vodka though.
I got water.
Correct. It's kind of like the opposite of when I used to go up to the concession stand and go, I'll have a root beer, hold the root. And then watch the absolute confusion run across the poor kid's face.
Oh, man.
Just give me a beer, kid. Matt's still hungover from Monday. No, just kidding.
No, I am not. That didn't even phase me.
Veteran over here, bud.
I actually need to cut back a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's a whole
It was an
other
event, man. That's
podcast. That will be our live intervention from my living room, probably in February.
There you go.
Please don't ruin my cruise.
Absolutely not.
No, we'll wait till you come back.
Yeah. There'll be no more
Fair
drinking.
enough. All right, boys, it's been a pleasure. I mean, we've had a hell of a week. We got to actually spend time as a trio, which we haven't done in years.
Yeah, it was nice. That was really cool.
That was really cool. It was really nice having Cooper along with us. You can check him out. He does exist. He is not a figment of Mike's imagination. He does get a few words in edgewise on our mini episode live from Seb's car. You can check that out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Is exclusive.
Has he taken off the shirt yet, or his Iron Maiden shirt, or did he wear it to school?
Yeah, he wore it the next day to school, and then, well, he's got a stable. He's got like four or five. He's like me with the Metallica shirts back in the day.
Yeah,
and then he wore the GNR shirt, I think, on Thursday, and then I think it was back to Iron Maiden something on.
Bad boy, kid.
Yeah,
well,
that's how he rolls, man.
I know your wife posted something the other day about making the house cleaner by closing your teenager's room, and my comment to that was, yeah, until the smell starts seeping out under the door like a toxic gas.
Gotta put the towels under the door.
Yeah,
just to block all airflow out of that room.
Take it from me. It's not worth going in to clean it yourself because you're gonna find some shit you didn't want to see.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. That was a fun topic. I enjoyed that off the cuff because I think it's a little more natural to things that we are thinking of. I enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure, Seb.
Yes.
Again, nice hat, you copycat bastard. And Mike, I hope maybe next time you get to drag your daughter down and have her check out Toy Traders.
I told her all about it, and we will definitely, next time we're in the city, we are making a on purpose stop to Toy Traders.
So, I will definitely join you.
Give us a call. We'll meet you there.
Absolutely. And Seb will not be on time again.
Yeah. Well, some things never change.
No, I mean, we had it called. We knew it. It was just
I was there 4 minutes after. It's fine.
Well, that's 4 minutes after you said you were going to be there. That's
true. That's fair.
That's pretty good for you, though. 4 minutes is pretty good.
You know what? You try going through downtown Langley and tell me if it's a fun drive.
No, it's not. There's like 15 punishment lights, and it's all right in that court. It's all between there and your house. It
sucks, man. There's no good way to get down to Toy Traders from my place because you got to go through.
Worst. Yeah, it's the worst, man.
Punishment light, punishment light. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Langley City Planners, for that.
Let's congest the entire city into one intersection. That's a great idea.
Thank you, overpopulation.
And I don't want it fixed because it'll just make traffic worse for a year and a half.
Right. That's true. Exactly. Just leave it alone.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Check this out on all the usual channels. Remember, you can always join us on Facebook and jump in the conversation, and check out our mini episode exclusive to the audio demand platforms, Apple and Spotify. So, ladies and gentlemen,
good day.
Good afternoon.
See ya.